Hello Internet, Brian here for Work to Game Videos, and today I wanted to talk to you about an interview that Apple's SVP Software Engineering, Craig, and I'm gonna butcher his name, Federighi. Anyway, Craig, he gives this interview to CNET, and they have this video up, and I'm gonna be sure to link to it below. I'm gonna cut to it throughout this video, and this is gonna be a little bit of a rant. Especially with how he presents himself in this video and the messaging behind it. But essentially, I'm just going to react and give my thoughts on the various things that he says about, obviously, the MacBook Pro. And they asked him some really interesting questions, and I was very disappointed with some of his responses. It really was disheartening, to say the least. So without further ado, let me go ahead and I'm going to play the video, and that way I can kind of listen to the audio and give you my thoughts.
Work all day on our Macs, and our hands can be super productive right there with the trackpad, with the keyboard. And so that's where, when we look at providing more controls, that's where we want them, right where your hands are, right at your fingertips. If you're on the keyboard, you tend to want to stay on the keyboard. If you're on the trackpad or using a mouse, you tend to want to stay on that mouse. And so having your hands on the keyboard and having, just without even lifting your hand, to be able to reach a control just right in front of you.
All right, so he was asked about obviously the touch bar, and his he's saying that you can be super productive. Your hands tend to remain or want to remain where they are. So if you're on the mouse, they want to stay on the mouse. If they're on the keyboard, they want to stay on the keyboard. I don't necessarily find this to be an untrue statement, but it doesn't sit well with me. It just bothers me to kind of this core of, it feels more like an excuse, and it feels more like a marketing message. It doesn't feel like, okay, well, we thought that it was going to be something that's much better. It's going, like, essentially, like, their argument behind removing the 1/8 the 1/8 port for their cell phone, the iPhone 7, for me made sense. It was saying, like, you know what, this is a relic of outdated technology that we feel that we can move away from at this point. And so that's what I would have gone with. That's what I would have said, like, hey, you know what, we have these function keys, and we've been doing all these different things for those function keys. You know what, let's go ahead and make that contextual. And to be fair, he does talk about that a little bit here later in the interview.
We saw the opportunity with the function key strip being really something that's a throwback to the past and a legacy, to instead create an area that was so useful and so powerful, and that really provided the controls contextually that were most relevant to what you were doing at any given time. And so when the technology came together with...
Yeah, so here's the argument. The function key, a throwback to the past. Yeah, I can get behind that. I can get behind contextual controls. Apple does a lot of good work with touch devices, phones, tablets, and that's why I have such a difficult time accepting that the Macs aren't touchscreen at this point.
My wife, of course, wasn't able to know that I was using this system, but she must have wondered why I was sending her more emoji, because they were right at my fingertips,
Okay. So you're... I get that Apple's secretive, but I just... Okay, let me imagine the conversation between this guy and his wife just really quick. Hey, babe, you don't really typically send me emojis, like something going on? And he's like, classified. Well, wait, I doubt. Never mind. It's highly possible, and when you marry an Apple man or a woman, when you marry an Apple man or woman, you'd know that they can't talk about work. Maybe that's a perk. Maybe that's a perk. Maybe she's like, can we talk about anything else besides computers? Who knows? I just, you're sending me a lot of emojis. I'm wondering what's going on with that, and why you actually can't tell me what's going on with that. Are you on your phone? No. Okay. Anyway.
So it is things like that. I do think also some tasks that you do, like navigating through your photos, just become so much quicker. You end up approaching it differently because you just want to move around. You just put your hand down, slide across.
I don't know about
It's
that.
really fantastic. At Apple, we build prototypes around all sorts of ideas. So we certainly explored the topic deeply many years ago and had working
Working
models.
touchscreen models, Max.
But decided that it really was a compromise, that for a device that you hold in your hand, like a
comes the marketing
phone or a
pitch.
tablet, it's very natural to rest your hand on the tablet and work that way. We think touch is at its best, and we wanted to
works great
build and
in
have
your
built a really deep experience around a multi-touch first user interface. Grafting touch on something that fundamentally was designed around a precise pointer really compromises the experience.
Okay, so grafting the touch on. Okay, just this is where the video lost me, and it frustrated me because obviously it's marketing, right? Marketing message. He can't be like, oh yeah, we're working on it. It's going to be fantastic. Don't go buy our Macs. And I'm not expecting or asking for that. What's just disappointing, it's like, oh, we've had it working and we felt that it was not, etc. Okay, yeah, I call BS. You've you just lost me, and it must be hard on him. He must be thinking, oh gosh, yes, we see what Microsoft's doing and it looks great. But here, I guess here's the thing of where, I guess grace can be bestowed, upon them. And it's going to be the fact that, and love it, like it or not, with Windows 8, whether you like the system or not, it was their roadmap to get us to Windows 10. And then, I've been playing around with the Universal, library about, you make an app and it works on Windows, it works on, Windows Phone, whatever that is, right? And it works, it just really works. So you can really have a lot of scalability easily. And then, it works with mouse and keyboard. Very, that precise clicking, that precise touch. But it also works with touch. And so it has all of that baked in. And I think essentially what we might be seeing, and it really might not be a question of hardware, right? Because they know touchscreens, they know how those things work. To put it into a Mac, I don't think from a hardware perspective is that difficult. However, I think it's a matter of their operating system. Now, iOS and Mac OS, they're all, they have various core, but I think essentially what it ends up being is that the reason is that right now the operating system isn't going to take full advantage of it. If you look at the Mac and the design hardware-wise, it's solid unibody. It's it's there. It's physical. It's great, and touch might be great, but if all it is for that, I can see that difficulty. But that's where I think from the Surface and it excels. And this is just my personal opinion. But then relating all of his conversation back. So when they're talking about the touch, and it's like precise pointer, blah blah blah, and this really just in my mind, I just couldn't buy. It's like your hands want to stay on the keyboard, or they want to stay on the mouse, and the vision I have. The vision I have that for it would be that, okay, yeah, they have really great iMacs. You can go and set one up in your kitchen or whatever, and when you're close and you're working, sometimes it would make more sense just to reach out and touch the screen where you need to go. And again, I think that all relates back to more of an issue of their operating system on the Mac than it relates to anything else. And this just then has me go off on the idea that they aren't innovators anymore, and that hurts, and that's, I think, disappointing. But I think they can be, and I don't think Apple's in trouble because they have mountains of cash. It's like they can buy innovation where it is. So I guess my advice to any buddy out there who wants to get rich, if you've got a great idea, innovation, go for it. I'm sure Apple, if it's good, Apple might just buy you, for it, because I think that maybe they're struggling there, and that's probably hard to hurt, And I know that they have a lot of hardworking men and women who I think probably want to do really great things, etc. I think this might be the signs of a leadership problem. Somebody who's just fine with the status quo and not changing the game, and I think that's a dangerous approach. I would recommend, unless Apple is working very diligently on something that's going to compete with Surface Studio, Surface Pro, Surface Book, that if you're an investor, you watch closely what's going on with them, because at some point you might be at cap. I don't know yet if what Apple's market, what their stock is. Here we go. Let's look at the month. Let's look at the year. Okay, so some bigger dips in May. Nice huge dip. September gets built up for the hype. October happens, the October surprise, and down it starts going. Okay, so this is obviously not gonna not that big of a hurdle, namely because when you look at their the price overall, it's it's trending up. So I mean they're cash rich. They sell and make great devices. I think I and probably several people out there are just in this lull of wishing that they would become innovators again. What is it? What was their phrase? Think different. Obviously, it's like marketing. Everything's marketing. Vanity of vanities. Everything's vanity. I just want to give this these thoughts from this interview. It really, I was so frustrated, especially when he started talking about will there be touchscreens in a Mac. I get that he can't say yes. I understand. However, if you could be like a fly on the wall at Apple, is this a priority for them? I don't know. I hope so. It just seems to be the obvious evolution, especially from their entire suite. And then essentially what is the messaging? Next year they come out and they're like, hopefully next year. Sometime, it feels like, especially from their computer perspective, they've really just given Macs and the Mac Pro such a backseat to any kind of thought. Like, hey, here it is, and then we may come back and make a a minor adjustment to it, but I don't know. Anyway, a couple of the things. I mean, it's like, okay, I get that the function bar. Okay, cool. Yeah, it doesn't need to be like hard buttons. The thing is I feel like anybody can come they could do that with their keyboard. They could also do that with their competition could do it. Microsoft could come out now and say, we got a new keyboard, it's got the touch bar, and it's just part of a keyboard. So yeah, it's maybe a more expensive keyboard, but it's a keyboard. Anyway, so all right, I'm going to sign off with that. Thanks for watching this video. Hit that like button if you like these technology break videos. The first one was really big. I was really quite surprised and happy, and thanks so much for watching. I've got a couple other things planned, so hit that subscribe button as well so you don't miss out. We'll be when my Surface Studio comes in, we'll be doing an unboxing, and then I'm going to be doing some kind of what it works like, what games, how the games run on it. And then obviously my thoughts, having to be able to spend personal time with it. So anyway, I've said thanks for watching already, but thanks for watching. Have a good one. Bye.